So when it was over, he comes up to John somebody. He said he looked around and says, "What's the," he said. "In 40 years of directing, I've never been called the," he said. Hollywood, the place of dazzling lights and smiles that seem never to fade, has long been seen as the land of perfection. But behind the makeup, behind those gleaming frames, lie bodies that were once damaged, stitched, braced with metal, and hidden beneath the glow. Some had to live their entire lives with 2 metal rods running along the spine, just to stand straight before the camera. Some relied so heavily on nerve pain relief that they were left with lasting after effects. And there were stars who once made the world swoon only to find themselves overnight permanently altered by a mysterious accident that Hollywood still hesitates to mention. In today's video, we'll look at 18 of the most famous stars of Hollywood's golden age. People you may not have known literally lost part of their bodies. Robert Dell, the man who lost hearing but not his resolve. Few know that Robert Duvall, the actor who terrified millions in Apocalypse Now with the line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," had in fact lost almost all hearing in his left ear when he was young. The accident occurred in the late 1950s when he was still an unknown stage actor in New York. During a rehearsal, a prop gun discharged just inches from his head. The powerful sound wave completely tore the left eardrum, leaving a permanent impairment. Afterward, Duvall spent nearly a year getting used to imbalance and constant ringing. Doctors at Bellevue Hospital once advised him to quit acting as single-sided hearing loss would disrupt spatial orientation on stage. But Duvall refused to surrender. He trained himself to feel sound through the vibration of the wooden floor, learned to read lips to follow partners, and adjusted his timing to the rhythm of his own heartbeat. "I can't hear clearly anymore, but I can still feel every line," he once shared on CBS Sunday Morning. Astonishingly, audiences never notice. Throughout his career, Duvall delivered dozens of roles with such precise dialogue that few believed he heard with only one ear. Directors from Francis Ford Coppola to Robert Altman affirmed that he has an instinctive sense of timing. He doesn't need ears to listen. Even so, the incident made him more guarded. On set, Duvall often requested a fixed mark so that his right ear would face his scene partner. The story of the man who lost half his hearing yet dominated the screen led many to call him Hollywood's hearing warrior. A body with a limitation but a will that wasn't. And when speaking of stars who turn wounds into symbols, one cannot forget Clark Gable, Sammy Davis Jr., the star who lost an eye in a car accident. Have you ever wondered if someone could rise to become a legend even after facing a catastrophic accident that changes their life forever? Sammy Davis Jr. is the perfect answer. But his story isn't just about being a legendary musician and actor. It's about a miraculous survival through an incident so shocking that many couldn't believe it. In 1954, Sammy Davis Jr. was at the peak of his career. He was one of the most famous entertainers in Hollywood, loved not just for his talent, but also for his unique style. However, everything changed on one fateful evening. While driving back from a performance in New York, Davis's car lost control and crashed into a truck. The accident caused him to be thrown from the vehicle, and his head struck the road with great force. The price he paid for surviving was steep. One of his eyes was severely injured, and Davis lost all vision in his left eye. The doctors didn't hide the seriousness of the situation and even advised him to give up his career. How can an artist perform on stage with one eye? They asked. But while everyone around him believed that the career of such a legendary figure like Davis was over, he wasn't ready to give up just yet. Some people in the industry even thought he would never return to the stage again. But Sammy Davis Jr. was not one to back down easily. He began learning to sense sound through the vibrations of the stage and used techniques like lip reading to communicate with his fellow performers. Though his left eye could no longer help him see, his passion and determination kept him standing strong, continuing to shine. Davis even shared with the press, "I can't see clearly anymore, but I can still feel the music, feel what I want to convey through every step of my dance." However, His career was not just about battling physical challenges. Throughout his life, Sammy Davis Jr. faced numerous shocking scandals that surprised many with the hidden aspects of his life. One of the most publicized incidents was his romantic relationship with Kim Novak, a famous actress at the time. The two were spotted dating in the 1950s, and their relationship sparked a wave of criticism from the public. The love affair between a man of color and a white movie star, during a period of strong racial segregation, was not easily accepted. And if you think Sammy Davis Jr. was the only one in Hollywood to face such monumental challenges, you will be mistaken. In fact, the lives of great stars are not always paved with roses. A contemporary of Davis, who also had to fight through his own set of struggles, faced just as much turmoil. Clark Gable, the $1 million smile made of metal. One afternoon in May 1933, the gates of the MGM lot suddenly closed. No one knew why Clark Gable, the studio's golden moneymaker, had vanished right in the middle of filming Dancing Lady. Rumors swept through Beverly Hills. Some said he had been injured on horseback. Others claimed he was undergoing secret procedures to look better. The truth was far more chilling. According to medical files leaked from the MGM medical department, Gable suffered severe periodontal disease linked to heavy smoking and strong drink. The infection spread to the jawbone, forcing Dr. Charles L. Pinkennis, the famed dentist, to the stars, to perform a full dental extraction that lasted nearly 6 hours at Sunset Dental Hospital in Beverly Hills. To keep it quiet, every nurse signed the pledge not to reveal the patient's identity. For 2 months after Gable hid at his Laurel Canyon home, he lost more than 10 kg, his face swollen, his speech distorted. The Los Angeles Herald-Examiner wrote in October 1933, "Clark Gable has disappeared from Hollywood. Something is wrong behind the smile that once enchanted millions of women." In reality, he was relearning to pronounce every syllable with a platinum dental prosthesis custom-made by MGM at a cost of $25,000, equivalent to more than $500,000 today. When he returned for It Happened One Night, 1934, Gable had to practice for hours so his smile wouldn't reveal the stiffness of metal in his mouth. Though the film won him an Oscar, backstage accounts note a lesser-known detail. Co-star Claudette Colbert once complained to Photoplay that he always keeps a mint before each take. By 1939's Gone with the Wind, Vivien Leigh reportedly called a kissing scene with Gable the most uncomfortable moment of my career due to a metallic breath, a point confirmed in makeup artist Monty Westmore's memoir. From then on, Gable always had a dedicated air purifier installed in his dressing room to head off whispers. In the late 1940s, the New York Mirror rekindled rumors that MGM funded a complete rebuild of the top star's teeth. The studio immediately threatened legal action, and the article was pulled within a day. 3 decades later, a nurse at Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center wrote in her memoir, "He always took out his dentures before sleeping in place, them in a silver case engraved King." Gable. Hollywood finally understood that. Legendary smile was not only a symbol of beauty, but proof of the price of perfection. Across the ocean, a diamond goddess carried hidden metal scars beneath gowns. James Stewart, the hero who lost his hearing during World War II. In 1941, while World War II was raging, James Stewart, a man regarded as perfect in the eyes of the public, enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps as a pilot. He wasn't the only Hollywood figure to go to war, but he was certainly one of the most resilient. Stewart not only participated in combat, but also served as a commander, taking on dangerous missions in aerial combat. Over the course of his service, he flew more than 20 combat missions over Europe, enduring perilous bombing raids that put his life at risk. However, it was during these combat flights that Stewart faced a devastating consequence. The deafening noise of the engines and the explosions caused significant damage to his hearing. While those bombing raids didn't kill him, they left Stewart with permanent partial hearing loss. After returning from the war, he realized that not only was his spirit affected, but his physical condition was no longer as perfect as before. Stewart was forced to live with tinnitus and partial hearing loss for the rest of his life. But like many great stars, Stewart didn't let this hardship stand in the way of his career. Contrary to what many might think, he didn't allow his disability to affect his performance abilities. He continued to play iconic roles from It's a Wonderful Life to Rear Window, with a graceful and emotional presence that no one could tell was missing one of his crucial senses. Stewart is a living testament to resilience, that even when the world changes, the spirit of a hero can never be defeated. And in this glamorous world, we cannot forget a name whose career and life were filled with unforgettable ups and downs. Elizabeth Taylor, the diamond goddess with a steel back and scars beneath the dress. On March 23, 1961, BBC Radio issued an urgent bulletin. Elizabeth Taylor has been hospitalized in critical condition in London. All of Britain was alarmed. Papers reported pneumonia, but later records at D